The weather's cooling off, but the Texas high school football action is heating up in Week 8. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Week 8 of the Texas high school football season is upon us, and district races are getting tight. There are playoff implications in pretty much every game across the state this week, which makes this one of the most fun weeks of the year. Big games all across the state. We start in the Panhandle. 7 o'clock Friday night at Wildcat Stadium in Canadian. It is a clash of 3A Titans as the Childress Bobcats visit the Canadian Wildcats. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number 1, Childress's defensive playmakers. You know, this is a Bobcats defense that does give up their fair share of yards, but when they need a big play, boy, they have a knack for it. They can come up with turnovers when they most need them. Linebacker Isaiah Darter is a ball hawk, not to mention their defensive back, Stephon Harris. This team is loaded with guys who come up with the big play at the big moment. Can Childress come up with a couple of defensive takeaways, or will Canadian hang on to the football? Key number 2, Canadian's running game. Yeah, I said running game. You know, when you think of Canadian, you think of throwing the ball all over the yard. They can't do that. Quarterback Cason Cavalier and wide receiver Gage McCook form one of the best pass-catch combos in all of 3A. But I think they need to run the ball in this game, have a semblance of balance to make sure that they keep this Childress defense off kilter. Running back Hayes Huffstetler is the bell cow for this running attack. Just a sophomore, he's got to have a big game in this one. Can Childress keep that running game grounded, or will Canadian get that balance that they need? And key number 3, the historical edge. If you think history is an indicator of what we're about to see, then all signs point to Canadian in this one. They've won the last 7 matchups of these two teams, including 2 meetings last year. Canadians won 30 consecutive district games. They haven't dropped a district matchup since 2012. And Childress has not beaten Canadian since 1999. That's before anybody who will play in the game this year was born. So everything's going Canadian's way. Can Childress rewrite the history books? Who am I picking? I'm going with Canadian. I think the Wildcats get the slight edge in this one, in part because of the historical aspect, and in part because they're at home. I think that matters in this one. Beyond that, I just think that right now their offense is hitting on all cylinders. I think that loss a couple of weeks ago was a wake-up call. Now, Childress is more than capable of winning this game. In fact, I think they've got a fantastic shot to do so, especially if they can get a big game from their quarterback, Luke Latimer. But I think this game is close, but I think history repeats itself. I think Canadian wins it. Let's go down to the Houston area. 7 o'clock Friday night at Winston Stadium in Friendswood. It's a 5A clash as the Alvin Shadow Creek Sharks visit the Friendswood Mustangs. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number 1, Shadow Creek? Really? Yes, really. If you haven't paid attention to this first-year varsity program, they are rolling off to a 6-0 start. Their coach, Brad Butler, is doing a phenomenal job down there, but we knew that they would have athletes. Quarterback Jamarian George has been spectacular, a name you need to know. But this is kind of uncharted territory for them, as everything is. Every accomplishment they make is the first in school history. Can they keep the roll going against a blue blood like Friendswood? Key number 2, Friendswood's young stars. You know, they are the blue blood in this matchup with a first-year varsity program, but they've got a number of youngsters that are leading the way. Quarterback Luke Durden is just a sophomore, but he has really been special this year for the Mustangs. And then you add in a wide receiver in Christian Lee, just a junior, and a terrific defense led by their junior safety, Trey Mapp, and suddenly you've got a team full of underclassmen that's making some noise. Can those young stars in a critical district game step up big? And key number 3, the Sharks' playmaking defense. There's a lot of reasons why Shadow Creek is off to a 6-0 start in their first varsity year, but I think a big reason is that they're taking the ball away. In 6 games, they have forced 13 turnovers. That is not something we see very often. Xavier Alfred and Josiah Alvarez have been spectacular at flying to the football and taking it away. Can they come up with 1 or 2 stops, or will Friendswood win the turnover battle? Who am I picking? I'm going with Shadow Creek. I think that they keep their roll going. Their quarterback, Jamarian George, has been great, and their defense is taking the ball away. But more importantly, I just think they're playing with such swagger right now. I think that they don't know they're not supposed to be doing something like this, and I think that's a big advantage for them. It's dangerous going on the road to Friendswood, and the Mustangs certainly have the playmakers to come up with the win. But for now, I think Shadow Creek stays perfect. Let's stay in Houston. 7 o'clock Friday night at Pridgeon Stadium in Cypress as Cy Falls takes on Jersey Village. So you remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about how Cy Falls versus Cy Fair was going to be for the district championship? So this is going to be for the District 17 6A championship, for real, for real. And these two teams are built very similarly. They run the ball really well and they play fantastic defense. I think the edge here goes to Cy Falls because of their quarterback TJ Goodwin. I think he makes 1 or 2 plays and pushes them over the top. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Cub Stadium in Clifton. The Clifton Cubs welcome in the Lexington Eagles. This Clifton team is undefeated and rolling in large part because their quarterback Mason Brandenburger has been great, but really this defense has been lights out. It'll need another big effort this week against Lexington, which has suddenly a very balanced offense. This freshman quarterback Sheldon Springer has stepped up in a big way, and not to mention you knew they could run the ball with running back Speedy Cooper. I think this game is close. Probably comes down to 1 or 2 plays in the fourth quarter, but I think I lean a little bit towards Lexington. 7 o'clock Friday night at Memorial Stadium in Hutto. It's an Austin area clash as the Hutto Hippos welcome in the Cedar Park Timberwolves. And look, there's no 2 ways around it. Cedar Park has absolutely owned Hutto forever. That's just the name of the game in this rivalry, and this Cedar Park team is rounding into form. Noah Morales and Ben Bell are stepping up to make this Black Rain defense look like a vintage Cedar Park team. But if Hutto's ever going to beat Cedar Park, it's this year. Everything is lined up. They're at home. They're coming off a bye week. They have the quarterback in Chase Griffin. They've got the playmakers in DJ Baptiste and Chuck Nwabuko. This is the year. If Hutto will ever beat Cedar Park, it's going to happen Friday. And I think it's going to happen. Hutto beats Cedar Park. 7 o'clock Friday night at Pirate Stadium in Belmead. It's a big-time 4A clash as the Waco Vega Pirates welcome in the Stephenville Yellow Jackets. This is a game we've had circled ever since realignment came out. We're really excited about this one. Even though there are 4 losses between these two teams, it has not lost any of the luster, and I think that the winner of this game is a bona fide 4A Division I state title contender. La Vega's really rounding into form. Running back John Richards has been fantastic, and the defense is starting to hit people in the way that you expect La Vega defenses to hit people. The key for Stephenville's Crease Novak, can he break off 1 or 2 big plays in the running game to loosen up this La Vega defense? I think it's close, but I think being at home matters. I think La Vega wins it. And one more game in the Houston area, 7 o'clock Friday night at Clay Stadium in Houston as the Strake Jesuit Crusaders welcome in the Pearland Oilers in a battle of unbeatens. And what a story Strake has been this year. Coach Clay Kubiak has really dialed up a fantastic offense with quarterback Michael Hansen and running back Michael Wiley. But the defense is going to need to come through against what's been a very hot Pearland offense. J.D. Head, the quarterback, has been sensational, just a junior. And running back Jalen Benefield is, well, he's what we thought Jalen Benefield would be as a senior. I think this game has a chance to be a big shootout, but I think Pearland comes away with a win. But those are far from the only big games in Week 8 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. Rio Hondo stays unbeaten with a win over Raymondville. Giddings gets by Belleville, and Price Carlisle takes down Alto. Granger beats Bremond. I think Dickinson stays unbeaten with a win over Clear Springs, and Midlothian Heritage gets by Athens. San Antonio Harlan, also in their first varsity year, they keep soaring with a win over Eagle Pass win, and I think College Station bounces back with a win over Magnolia. In another battle of unbeatens, I like El Paso Parkland over El Paso East Leta. Graham keeps their momentum going with a win over Bridgeport, and I like Converse Judson to take down Smithson Valley. Lovelady outmuscles Grapeland. Give me Colorado City to get past Idalou, and I think Lubbock Estacado squeaks by Dalhart. Cedar Hill roars back with a win over Mansfield. Lake Ridge Snyder takes down Midland Greenwood, and Liberty gets by Hampshire Finette. Bernie beats Pleasanton. Shiner takes down Weimer, and I like Wall to beat Jim Ned. Down south, I like Poth over Skidmore Tynan. Out east, I like Pleasant Grove over Gilmer, and up north, I like Brock over Whitesboro. In our 6-man game of the week, I think Ira beats Spur, and back in 11-man, I think Stanford beats Winters. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCampbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 8 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.